Initial HQ London, UK. Can one be born with an evil soul? No.
How much time do we have?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes before the event?
Before the Imam.
Sorry. Can one be born with an evil soul? And the question is from where?
London, UK.
From London. طيب. جزاكم الله خيرا. Can one be born with an evil soul? The Prophet ﷺ says, كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. Every soul is born upon the fitrah. فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. His parents either turn him into this, that, or etc. Now, طيب. So therefore, the soul is the child is born on a fitrah. What do you mean by born with an evil soul? That Allah Azza wa Jal made this soul, and He knew, and decreed, and He wrote that this soul would be evil, and this person would be a kafir and a mushrik and a fasiq. Is that what you mean? That's one scenario. Or if you mean that a person was born with a fitrah that was evil from day one, that's a different scenario. Scenario number 3 is, and I will say this is extremely important for us to understand, is that Allah Azza wa Jal, He speaks about man, min haythul jins, the genus of man. Man, not one man, man. Okay? Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't mean that every single man is a certain way. So Allah, He says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We've made man in the what? Best effect. Does that mean people aren't born with being deformed? How many people are there with a missing foot, 2 heads, Siamese twins, this, that, so on? There's many people. But that's not the what? It's not the asl. Nor is that the majority. And it's extremely important when it comes to the concept of I was born as a homosexual. I was born as a lesbian. I was born as being attracted to the same sex. So on and so on and so forth. People, they make that argument. And somebody may say, how are you going to tell me how I was born? I'm telling you, from day one, I never ever liked girls. I was never taken advantage of. I was never abused. I never liked the opposite sex. And then for argument's sake, one could say, maybe that is true. Maybe. I'm not saying it is, but maybe. But just because a person is born with a 6th finger, that doesn't mean that everyone else is. And it doesn't mean that every single person has that deformation or deformity, and that's the asl of Allah's creation of man. Everyone understand this? There's a huge difference now. A huge what? Huge difference. Are there people with 6 fingers, 6 toes? Yes, there are. Out of a room, out of 100 people, how many people have 6 toes? Sheikh Khan, how many? If that, the chances of it is slim. So just because a person has it, or a person was born like this or made like this, that doesn't mean that's the default way of how Allah what? Made and created things. So we have 3 scenarios now. Scenario number 1 is the concept of every child being born upon a fitrah. And then they are taken away from that fitrah and turned and made and exposed to evil. Everyone understand this? And a person thinks that they're born with an evil soul, but they actually what? Weren't. But they became evil at a young age, etc. Scenario number 2 is that Allah Azza wa Jal made the person upon the fitrah, and Allah knew that this person will grow up and be an evil doer. That was the decree in the khalq and the kitabah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And scenario number 3, if Allah made a person from the get-go with an evil soul, that's not the what? That's not the default. You understand this? That's my answer to the question. Allah surely knows best.